Good morning, DGiT fam, and welcome to the second edition of the DGiT Monthly, your recap of the July that was. You know, just in case you missed a podcast or two. Hey, I get it. Life gets in the way sometimes. No judging, but let's get right into it. It is the end of July 2019, and this is your month in review. Just like last month, this monthly edition of the podcast and newsletter are both being brought to you by our friends at MNML Cases. That's MNMLCase.com, and they are insanely thin cases that protect your smartphone without adding all the bulk that other cases add. If you want to keep your phone safe, or more importantly, your phone's resale value safe, check out MNMLCase.com. That's MNMLCase.com. Once again, that's MNMLCase.com today, and we thank them for sponsoring this podcast. So if there was one overarching theme of July 2019, it was enhancements. Put another way, we saw a lot of common products become extraordinary in their own ways. For example, the month of July saw the release of the Snapdragon 855 Plus, which is basically just a Snapdragon 855 with some fancy overclocking sprinkled in for flavor. It's enhanced. The first phone to use that enhancement was the Asus ROG Phone 2, a phone that has been enhanced for gamers, and not just with a fancy new chip. This bad boy is enhanced all over the place when it comes to CPU, GPU, battery, internal storage, USB ports, accessories. This is a phone designed for one thing: gaming, as is the Xiaomi Black Shark 2 Pro, also geared for gaming, but not as much as the ROG Phone in this podcaster's humble opinion. July also saw an enhanced version of the Galaxy Fold, though Samsung actually used the word fixed, but that's just semantics, and it fits our narrative, so just go with it. Here we have a phone that we've already seen, but modified in several ways to make it better, and, less breakable. We also saw the Switch Lite, enhanced, or de-enhanced as it were, for the mobile gamer. With a solid one-piece build, it's likely that this device will simply be better for someone on the go. It'll be more solid and potentially better built now that engineers don't have to worry about Joy-Cons being removed, or being sued as a result of that. Is it better? Arguably no, but it's certainly more niche and more focus. Finally, we got some official leaks from Google about the Pixel 4 and its face-detecting technology. Another enhancement which is basically based on Apple's success, because if you're gonna mimic someone, you may as well mimic someone who's killing it in the space. So the word of the month is enhancement and specialization, and yes, I understand that's two words, but still, the newsletter calls it iteration, which is not inaccurate. We didn't see anything really new in July, but we did hear reports about how hard companies are trying to bring new things. Apple spent $4.3 billion with a B dollars in R&D last quarter. That's more than it spent in 2010 and 2011 combined. Huawei announced it will spend $17.4 billion in 2019 as well. But new developments take time and a buttload of money. Make no mistake, there's innovation coming. But for now, we get niche products and enhanced products, and if the Asus ROG Phone 2 is any indication of what that looks like, I'm perfectly okay with that for the time being. So let's look back at the other events that made up the month of July and see what's coming in August in our roundup. The big news of the month was arguably Amazon's 2-day Prime Day Spectacular with deep discounts on a lot of products in all categories, including tech. Phones, tablets, laptops, Chromebooks, you name it, it was on sale. I bought bed sheets. Sadly, that's the extent of it for me. But I hope y'all got some great stuff. I'll be over here on my bed sheets. Try and control your jealousy. San Diego's Comic-Con came and went this month, and there was a ton of geekery flying out of that thing. We got the full lineup of Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We got a trailer for Top Gun Maverick that I've watched pretty much almost daily since then. We got a new trailer for Star Trek Picard. And hey, I even think that there was some comic book news at the Comic-Con as well. And comic book DGiT Daily fans, I'd like to apologize for the lack of comic book news on this podcast. We talk about movies and TV shows all the time, but rarely comics, and it's mainly just because it's not really on mine or Tristan's radar. I'm sorry, friends. Comics are important. Just, we suck at them. On the streaming front, we got word that Netflix lost subscribers in the US for the first time in nearly a decade, and at the same time, we got news of a new streaming service, HBO Max. These two stories are not completely unrelated. Movie studios are picking up on the fact that content is king, so why should Netflix get all the good nuggets? Disney figured it out, and now Time Warner has too, pulling most of its content from Netflix in the upcoming years and using shows like Friends as the cornerstone of its own content. Cord cutting is taking a dark turn, folks, so strap in and try to keep your head down. July was a very Apple-ish kind of month with big splashes, and not all of them good. First, Tim Cook called out the Wall Street Journal saying liar, liar, pants on fire regarding its deep dive into Johnny Ive's departure that capped the month of June. Then, Apple bought all of Intel's 5G technology and personnel, wanting to bring that department fully under Cupertino's umbrella. Apple's earnings call reported that Apple is relying less on device sales and more on services and accessories, but those services and accessories are tied to a single platform, which is Apple's, which is not necessarily a good place to be and will bear close scrutiny going forward. And speaking of close scrutiny, contractors are listening into your Hey Siri conversations to the surprise of literally nobody. And finally, we have our facepalm of the month. Red is making a sequel to the absolutely terrible, horrible Hydrogen 1 smartphone that it made last year. This phone was bad, people, and Red blamed everything on the one who made the phone. But they're starting over, and they found a new manufacturer, so things will be totally different this time, except they totally won't. But that's not all, because we also have a look ahead at what's coming up. Do not connect to a Wi-Fi signal that you didn't set up yourself from August 7th through the 11th in Las Vegas. In fact, just leave your electronics home, it is safe, and preferably in a Faraday cage, because Black Hat USA and DEFCON conventions happen back-to-back in that city. What that means for mortals like me is every hacker worth their salt is going to be in Vegas, and you can bet that many of them will be up to no good, ranging from quirky naughtiness to outright evil. Also on August 7th, we get the reveal of the Samsung Galaxy Notes, at least 2 variants that we know about, and on August 20th through the 25th, we'll get the Dota 2 International Main Event in Shanghai. So that's going to do it for your July 2019 recap. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on DGiT.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. And speaking of reviews, we got a great new review from a listener in Great Britain. Thank you very much, friend. So it's time to remind you once again that reviews make all the difference in whether a podcast makes it or not. So, as I used to say often, please do leave us a review. Stars are great, words are better, and thank you in advance. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again later today.